Vayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Sava Esha Mahanaja Atma Aprano Yamanaha Sabāhyābhyantaro yajaha Vijñāna ghana eva Anantaramabāhyam. They make a unit. These vakyas taken by Shankara from different Upanishads, they constitute different facets of the same reality, which is the Brahman. The seeker wants to know Brahman. See, you look at the vision of the Upanishads. There, a person who is highly educated, like Angiras Maharshi in Mundaka Upanishad, he is one of the greatest scholars of Vedas. And now he is not satisfied with what all knowledge that he has acquired, which is all about karma kanda and upasana. Karma kanda is rituals and which are supposed to give, which supposedly will give their result later, in all probability next birth. And upasana is you visualize the reality in various forms and do some kind of a mental worship. Having done all of that, they are not satisfied, because all of that is belief. Karma and upasana is mostly belief. Some of it is a very rational thing, like the pujas that you do to God. They resemble the reverence you show to a guest. If you see the sequence of the upachara, it is as if a guest has come to your house and you offer a few facilities to the guest. So the entire puja is derived from that. The guest comes, you say, please come in, sir. So that is where the puja begins. Avahayami. The first step is avahanam, not dhyanam. Dhyanam is not counted. So you want to do, you do it, but it is not counted. Counting begins with avahanam. So that is how these. They are logical, they are very well evolved in certain respects, but mostly they are based on a belief system. These rishis who have mastered the art of rituals and upasana could give their life, rest of the life, over to that belief system. They don't do that. They don't want to do that. But we want to do that because we are lazy people. Intellectually lazy. We don't have that spirit of inquiry within us. We don't ask questions. That's why when you don't ask questions, the most preposterous propositions in the name of belief and in the name of worship become current. So you have to ask questions. So the rishi goes to a wise man and asks the question, what is that reality which is beyond these names and forms? That is the question he asks. Then they, for the sake of communication, they give a name to it. In Upanishads, the name is Brahma. And not all the time Brahma only. Sometimes it is called Purusha. So they have already foreseen that that reality could be Chetana. Need not be Jada. Is that Jada or Chetana? Reality is one, that they could see. They are not like our dualist friends. For them reality is many. They are safe in their belief. Whereas the rishis knew that reality is one. The scientists knew that the reality is one. The rishis knew the reality is one. What these believers know? They don't know anything. They remain secure in their belief. Some kind of a sense of, a false sense of security that the belief gives to us. Whereas the scientists, they don't believe, they inquire. And the rishis, they don't care for belief, they don't give over to the belief, the life. They inquire. They inquire, what is the reality? The reality must be Chetana, it cannot be Jada. So they examine whether Chetana comes from Jada. Chetana is sentience, Jada is insentience. So whether Chetana comes from Jada or Jada comes from Chetana, they examined it. And one of the rishis said, Chetana comes from Jada. For example, that rishi, Marx is one such rishi. We call Marx as a rishi, philosopher, you know. He said Chetana comes from Jada. And then Charvaka and other rishis. Marx is later. Marx is not a communist party wala. Marx is from Britain or from Germany. He is not a communist countryman. He is a philosopher. He used to attend a library and read books and all that. Anyway, I don't know much biographic details, but you don't go into Marxist party and all that right away. That is my request. That is all. He is a philosopher. And so Marx is the latest, but we had many earlier friends. In Hindu philosophy, thousands of years back, BC, there were many philosophers who believed that matter is the truth. In Ramayana, we come across one such philosopher, Ayodhya Kanda. His name is Jabali. And in Mahabharata, you come across such philosophers who proposed the reality as insentient, jada, material. Charvaka is one such philosopher. And he is called Charvaka, Charuvaka, who goes away. So Charuvaka becomes a Charvaka. So if you want, so this Charvaka, because when he says your body is real, your house is real, your community is real, your bank account is real, it is so happy to hear all that. You know. Very nice to hear. Therefore he is called Charuvakaha. Very nice things he says. But people don't fall into that trap. They visualized it is the Purusha. The Purusha is Chetana. The sentient entity is called Purushaha. It is the Purusha which is the origin of this universe. And therefore they ask in the Upanishad, Tattvavidananda Purusham Pruchhami. I am asking about that Purusha, the sentient entity that is described in the Upanishads. Like that the student asks the teacher. Therefore like that is the context which the Acharya is capturing. So the student goes and asks, what is Brahman? Brahma Kim? And so he doesn't answer. Brahma is a gentleman sitting somewhere. Or like Brahma is a huge border-like thing, like Mount Kilimanjaro. So such a huge thing sitting somewhere, that is Brahman. He doesn't say like that, you know. So Brahman, I cannot show you because it's not an object, and I cannot even describe to you because the mind cannot reach it. I can show the general direction in which you have to inquire, and then you will discover Brahman in yourself. What is the general direction? Sava esha mahanaja atma. So this Brahman is Atma. Atma is a very well understood word. Atma is myself. Myself could be very confusing. Myself could be the body identified self, etc. Now the body identified self is very little self. It is called a small self. A little self it is. It cannot be Mahan Atma. The mind identified self is always happy, unhappy self it is. Now happy, now unhappy. Caught in the throes of this samsara. That is the mind identified self. That is the small self. No, not that self. Mahan self. There is a bigger self in you. And so you have misunderstood yourself thoroughly, entirely. You did not understand yourself correctly. It is like a very unself-confident person, a person lacking in self-confidence, given to a lot of fear and phobias, goes to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and the person says, the doctor says, you have mistaken about yourself. You are unnecessarily getting worried. For no reason you are getting worried. You are not what you imagine yourself to be. You are much better than that. I know you much better than you yourself. You know yourself. Come on, give up these false notions about yourself and become a better person. That is what a psychologist will say. The Rishi also says a similar thing, but much bigger. For the psychologist, the body-mind are real. And the body-mind identified person is very real and valid person. Whereas for the Rishi, it is not like that. The Rishi doesn't he refuses to identify with the physical and psychological dimensions, which the common man does all the time. So he says the Atma is beyond the physical and psychological dimensions. When we say beyond, it doesn't mean that a small self is here and the real self is in the heaven. Not like that. Okay? Don't confuse it that way. It is still you, and it is still now and here, but it is still beyond what you take yourself to be. Mahanatma. Now, you tell me, how do you look at yourself? What kind of a person you are? I was born and I am going to die. No, that is not what you are. That is not what you are. No, the body will die. Body will die. Hanyate hanyamane sharire. The body will die. But there is something in you which will not die even after the body dies. That is the Atma. That is you. But what about body? You are not the body. The body is something known to you. Therefore it cannot be you. Whatever is known to you, it cannot be you. Why? Because it is known to you. If it is you, it will not be known to you. Deho na janati. The famous statement of Ramana Maharshi. Deho na janati. Body doesn't know. You know. Therefore you are not the body. That means the birth is not there for you. And hence you are not going to die. Because only the one which has birth will die. Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuh. Whatever is born will certainly die. And whatever is not born will never die. It is like you break the pot. The pot will become pieces and it is gone. But the space, well, nothing will happen to it. Pot space. You called it pot space because it seems to be limited by the pot. Therefore, what happens to the space of the pot? Nothing will happen to it. You see, a building has collapsed. Some bomb was put and a building has collapsed. So many number of rooms are collapsed. Some more rooms are still standing. What is the difference now between the space inside the standing rooms and the collapsed rooms? There is no difference. It is all the same space. The space of the rooms that have collapsed and the space of the rooms that are still standing, it is the same space, no difference. So, one room has collapsed, another room is standing. That makes no difference with the space that seems to be enveloped by the room. So, therefore, you are that Atma, Aja Atma. So, know yourself correctly. Know yourself correctly. So, first you know yourself wrongly and then develop some amusement in that wrong identification, and then you will have to pay a very bitter price. Know yourself correctly. By the time you know yourself correctly, you are free from the falsehood. There is a law. It is always the falsehood that makes you suffer, never the truth. The truth will never make you suffer. Truth will be very liberating. Truth will not make you suffer. But then we are suffering. You are suffering, that I agree. Not because of the truth. Suffering is always because of a false notion. So, people suffer for no reason. Panditaha na shochanti. If they know the truth, if they know correctly, they won't suffer. So, they suffer for no reason whatsoever. Anyway, that is a different point. Therefore, you are the Atma, you are the self which has no birth. Suppose you see that clearly, and you reach a point of non-identification with the body. It is doable, very simple it is. With mind it will be a bit more difficult, but with body it can be readily accomplished. Body has its own dynamic. It is the child of the nature. The nature has put it in place, nature is sustaining it, nature will take it back into itself. Nature will swallow it. the body. And therefore, leave it to the nature. No, sometimes it draws your attention. When it draws your attention, do what needs to be done. In fact, you don't do, it gets done. You don't take shower. Shower is taken. Atma doesn't take shower. Shower is taken. But the body cannot take, mind will make it take. Thought and body, mind and body, they work between themselves. Body says, I am hungry. Mind knows what to do about it. Mind has all tricks to take care of the body's demands. Mind overdoes also occasionally, quite often. So don't worry on account of the body what will happen to it. Mind is there to take care of the body. It is between the mind and the body. Dono, chor ka, support to chor. One thief supporting another thief. Between them, you are beyond. You are never born. No, I want immortality. You are immortal. Amruta. People want Amruta. And our Puranic friends believe that Amruta is a liquid. Suppose Amruta is a liquid. What liquid that could be? Can you guess? You should be able to guess. Therefore, how dangerous it is, how silly it is. Amruta is not a liquid. Therefore, you are Amruta, no one here. No, I want to become Amruta. You need not become Amruta. You cannot become Amruta also, because you cannot become what you already are. Mahanaja Atma. Aprano Hyamanaha. But take care. There is the dimension of activity and there is the dimension of mind. Two dimensions are there. The Kriya Shakti and Vijnana Shakti. Pranaha, Kriya Shakti. There is tremendous activity in this body and mind also. But mind we are talking separately, therefore there is tremendous activity here. The blood is circulating. Prana, let us say like that. Apana is the inhalation. What you inhale is apana. What you exhale is prana. Pranapana, vyana, the gap in between is vyana. Udana, what comes out, other than prana, whatever comes out, like you sneezing, then yawning, vomiting. So, whatever you vomit, that is udana. Some people vomit shivalingas. That is also udana. Keep some smooth shivalinga somewhere here like a monkey does. Did you ever feed monkey? When you feed monkey, suppose you have two fruits. One fruit it takes and stores it here. And immediately it grabs the second fruit from you. And once you go away, it brings out and eats it. You can see the storehouse of the monkey. Like this, these bluff masters, they store shivalingas here and here, or here, somewhere here. And then now Muhurtam has come, he will vomit it out. That is the udana. All vomiting is udana. What is it that people vomit? What is it? Whatever they have taken in. That is the rule, you know. Whatever you have taken in, that alone you vomit. You don't vomit anything else. Something which you have not taken earlier, you are not going to vomit. So this guy vomited. In India, there is a TV channel 24/7 devoted to this vomiting nonsense, and thousands of devotees are watching this vomiting session on Shivaratri day. What a monstrosity of ignorance. And you want to follow that? So these people are crazy, I tell you. So, therefore there is so much activity, udana, and the samana. Samana is blood circulation, and the food digested and the essence, the nutrients are taken to all parts of the body. That is samana. You see so much activity. Prana, apana, vyanodana, samana. All names are ana, because ana, cheshtayam. Ana is activity. That's why the names are like that. All that is one dimension in you. It is there in you. That I am. No, you are not that. You are not the one who inhales and exhales. You are the witness to the inhale and exhale. Be a witness. Don't identify with it. You are not the food, you are not the digestion, you are not the body, you are not the blood, you are not the circulation. You are not any of that prana. And then prana is also kartrutva, doership. You are not that. Apranaha. He indeed. Amanaha. Then mind. Mind is sukha dukkha. Pleasure, pain, cycle is mind. A cycle that, you see, pleasure, pain, cycle, if you understand, you are liberated then and there. There is immediate freedom. You see, I tell you, in Bhagavatam it is said, I don't remember the verse, a person is carrying a load on his head. And then he felt the heaviness of the load. He felt uncomfortable with the load. Then he shifted the load onto his shoulders and feels there is some relief. Now, there is no real relief. Real relief is when the load is put aside, not when you shift it from head to shoulder. So similarly, you are sick and therefore suffering. And then somebody, son or daughter, they come. And therefore you make a celebration. So you feel good. So now the sickness, what happened to it? It has gone or what? So, but you create some artificial celebration so that for a while you can avoid this feeling of sickness, and artificially you feel elated for 15 minutes, and then everybody departs and you are left with your sickness, only reinforced sickness. This is how people live. Therefore, the pleasure-pain cycle, the law, the nature's law, is in human beings' lives, pleasure-pain cycle is mishram, 50-50 it is. Anishtam ishtam mishrancha, trividham karmanah phalam. So for animals and such life forms below the human life, the pleasure-pain cycle is pain more and pleasure less. For higher life forms like angels, etc. Where are angels? Go to Hollywood and go to Bollywood, they are the angels. Stars, you know. They are the stars. And their pleasure pain cycle, let us say, just or visualize some angels above, and their pleasure is more, pain is less. The human beings are in between, Madhyamaloka, they are called Madhyamaloka. And the king is called Madhyamaloka Palaha, Kalidasa. So these are all the Madhyamaloka people. Loka is Manushyaha. So the human beings are in between. So what will be their pleasure pain? 50-50. Suppose you make a tremendous effort to get more pleasure, then what will you be your pleasure pain cycle? 50-50. Suppose you make a tremendous effort to avoid pain, then what will you be your pleasure pain cycle? 50-50. Then somebody asked me, then why are we doing all these efforts to get pleasure and stop pain? You are doing for no reason, you should not do. No, then they throw the book at me. No, Veda tells. What do you know about Veda? Just it's a fashion that Veda tells. Did you study Veda? Don't tell stories to me. You ask me, I will tell you what Veda tells. Just I am giving you some pep talk to you, the last class. Therefore, Veda doesn't tell like that. If you have a desire, and instead of, if you are sure you have to do something about it, then you better do this and see what will happen. What will happen? Your pain will be postponed and pleasure will be extended. That doesn't change pleasure pain cycle. Instead of going to jail tomorrow, you can go day after tomorrow and stay one day extra. Ho gaya kaam. Therefore, the pleasure pain cycle you cannot alter. Suppose you get this into your head, that the pleasure pain cycle you cannot alter. Then you are no more a client for all these soothsayers and for all these fellows who offer so many things to gullible people. You are not a client to them. You become free then and there. What has to happen will happen. What happens, happens. You cannot stop it, you cannot do otherwise. So, you are not the mind. It is the mind which is tricking you. The pleasure-pain cycle doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the mind. So, then ignorance, knowledge. I will come to that. That also belongs to the mind. That Vakya is coming later. So, at once, you rise above the body-mind. Aprano yamana. Then what am I? Doesn't matter. First you know what you are not. You are not prana, you are not manas. What a Vakya it is. Aprano yamanaha. Therefore Shubhraha. Therefore Shubhraha mane, that is not here, but that is the next part of the mantra. Aprano yamana Shubhraha. What is Shubhraha? Free from ragadvesha. Free from attachment, aversion. When there is no pleasure-pain cycle, you cannot alter it. No fun in pursuing that. Therefore, no attachment, no aversion. You are pure. And no birth, no death. You are freed from the cycle of birth and death. Apranaha. So, sabahyabhyantaro yajaha. You see, what is bahya and what is abhyantara? Bahya is sat. Abhyantara is chit. And what is the truth? Is it sat or chit? It includes both. It includes the sat, it includes the chit. Sabahya abhyantaraha. Take it like that. It can be described in a slightly different way also. So you look at this duality, subject-object duality. Where is the subject? Abhyantara. Where is the object? Bahya. And the reality, the awareness in which the subject-object duality happens and unhappens, appears and disappears, that awareness, it includes both knower and known. Yesterday I was saying, it includes both knower and known. It is in between the knower and known. It is in and through the knower and known, and at the same time it is beyond the knower and known. Sabahyabhyantaraha. It is the knower who is born with every known. It is the known which is born with every knower. No, you see, somebody asked me, when is pot born? When the pot vritti is born, that is when pot is born. What is the birth of the pot? The birth of the pot vritti is the birth of the pot. This is called Drishti Srishtivada. Therefore, that is the birth of the pot. Pot vritti's birth is the birth of the pot. And therefore, Sabahyabhyantaro hyajaha. The awareness, it includes both the knower and the known, because it is vijnana ghana eva. It is one solid ghana, monolithic ghana, or you can even say homogeneous ghana, awareness absolute. That is what you are. Look at yourself. You are the one who knows. Everything else is the other, known to you. You are the one who knows. The known cannot exist without the knower, without you, the one who knows. But you are independent of the known. The known is unreal, only the knower is real. So you have grossly misunderstood yourself. You have taken yourself to be what is known to you. That is the greatest calamity in life, that we take what is known as myself, what is known to me as myself. That is the greatest calamity, and all other calamities flow from that calamity. That is, I take myself to be the body, and all calamities flow from it. I take myself to be the karta bhokta, that is prana and manaha. Take it like that. Some other place I may say vijnana is the karta and ananda is the manaha. I may say like that. It depends upon, I say everything. I am free. I am not speaking from bondage. So tie up hands and legs and speak. Or stand behind with a whip and now you speak. No, I am a free guy. I speak any way I like. But all the time, focus towards the truth. There are no shackles for me. I am free. I am free like wind and the sun and the moon and the stars. Vijnana ghana eva. You should be like that. I means not I in general. So, I am the awareness absolute, which is primordial. The knower known is not fundamental. It is not the original. Knower known is artificial. It comes and goes. The duality. The duality is what they call samsara, the world. What you call world is the knower known duality. You are the knower, a small part of the world, and then apparently, and the world is known to you. That is the knower known duality. It is unreal. And the awareness in which it appears alone is real. The awareness, light of the absolute awareness, the light of awareness is primordial. It is the original. The knower known duality begins and ends, whereas the awareness absolute is beginningless. It has no beginning and endless. And the knower causes the known, known causes the knower. You see, there is a discussion in Mandukya, very amazing discussion. He says, without Vishaya, there is no Manaha. And without Manaha, there is no Vishaya. You see, suppose mind stops cognizing the object, anabhasam, aninganam anabhasam. The mind stops moving. What is the movement of mind? Cognition. What is cognition? The cognizing mind illuminates the Shabda Sparsha, etc., the object. That is called abhasa. So abhasayati. So now the mind stops cognizing. Means you look at yourself, allow the mind to drop 5 things. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. Those 5 let it drop, and then let it drop Sukha Dukkha. That is mental, very, very vasana rupa. Sukha, there is no pleasure, there is no pain. There is no Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. These 7 things you drop. Then what happens? Aninganam anabhasam. There is no mind there. There is no mind. Unless something is getting illuminated, cognized by the mind, there is no cognizing mind. Therefore, the cognizing mind and the cognized thing come together and vanish together. And therefore, when the cognition ends, there is no mind either. Mind ends. Mind doesn't sit there waiting to cognize. It ends. Aningana manabhasam. Then when the mind ends, what happens to it? Brahma sampadyate tada. It merges in the source, which is the Atma. Therefore, the awareness absolute is uncaused, unsupported, in the sense that the duality of subject-object is supported by the awareness absolute. But the awareness absolute is unsupported. Like all the scenes on the movie screen are supported by the light, but the light itself is unsupported. And the scenes on the movie screen have many parts. So this is hero, this is heroine, this is villain, this and that. Whereas the light which illuminates these scenes is partless. So Atma is partless. There are no parts in Atma. There are no pieces and parts in Atma. Atma is not composite. Body is composite. Bhuta Sanghaha. Mind is composite. Thoughts, emotions, ideas, concepts, intellectual mind, emotional mind, this mind, that mind. It is composite. Vasanas, conscious mind, unconscious mind. So what not? It is a big composite. Whereas Atma, it is not composite. The awareness is absolute. It is one without the second. It is partless and modificationless. No changes in it. It is the changeless reality. So, you see, all waves are in the ocean. Waves, surf, ripples, breakers, everything is in water. Similarly, All things physical and mental are in the awareness absolute. All things, the whole universe, it shines, it comes to light in the awareness absolute. Hence, awareness absolute, the Chaitanya alone is all important. Like water alone is all important. The waves, etc. are insignificant. The content of the water, namely waves, ripples, breakers, surf, bubbles, etc., that is insignificant. All unreal. The content is not important. The water alone is important. Similarly in you, the awareness absolute alone is important. Vijnana ghana eva anantaram abahyam. It includes the outer and the inner. But it is not the outer and it is not the inner. Yet it includes the outer and the inner. Means it is immanent in the outer and the inner, yet it is transcendent. Anyadeva tadvidita datho avidita dadhi. See, you look at your mind. There are two categories in the mind. One is the known and the other is the unknown. These are the two categories. But these two categories, they are, you see, the way mind looks at that, it is highly corrupted. In the sense, what you categorize as known is not entirely known to you. Some of it is unknown to you. So it is like asking, do you see the table? Yes, I see, you say. But you see only one part of the table, the other part you don't see. But you put it into the category of knowing. That is how the mind works. So, do you know what is behind me? No, we don't know. You don't know, but in a way you know. There is something behind me. You don't know its shape and its name. But in general terms, it is some inanimate object. It must be some kind of a pillow-like thing behind me. All that you know. But still you say, I don't know. So when you say I don't know, some of it you know. When you say you know, a lot of it you don't know. But still these two categories exist. Known and unknown. Grossly taking, superficially taking, the mind consists of two categories. Known and unknown. This is from Kenopanishad. This Kenopanishad is the most dangerous Upanishad it is. If somebody asks me to teach Kenopanishad, I am afraid. Because you enter into it, you will not be able to get out of it. And people will resist. They will not be able to take it. Very serious problems with Kenopanishad. So, you see, the human mind, it mistakes its opinion for the truth. That is how the human mind works. So, you say it is vidita, you say it is avidita. So, what you call vidita, known, is a perspective of the mind. Mind categorizes like that. And then the mind also says avidita. So, this is how there are these two categories, vidita and avidita. Now, the mind, what it does, whatever is vidita, it takes it for granted, and whatever is avidita, it tries to grab it. Mind is like that. It has to catch it and categorize it. That categorization, that is how the mind. Suppose you come across a person and you don't know who is this person. Arey, who is he? He is not of our village. He is from some other village. Oh, which village? He came from that and that village. What? He is a Brahmana or a Kshatriya? What is he doing? Job? How much salary he gets? So all that, is he married or not? He is married. Is he happy with his wife? This is the mind. It wants to grab everything. So it wants to know everything. Because it is uncomfortable with a thing that is not known. It is comfortable when it feels it has known. When it says it knows, it doesn't know. It has an opinion of knowing and another opinion of not knowing, and therefore it is uncomfortable with what it doesn't know, what it doesn't categorize. It has to know, categorize, and then it remains comfortable. If the categorization doesn't happen, it gets baffled. That is how the mind works. So, therefore, it wants to know Atman. Mind wants to know Atma, because Atma is avidita. You can know Atman later. Where is the hurry? You know the Jagat correctly. No, Jagat is known to me. It is vidita. It is the Atma which is unknown. Therefore I have to know Atma. Okay, then what are you going to do now? I will make arrangements to know Atma. And convert the Atma, the avidita, into Atma, the vidita. This is how the mind wants to proceed. You see, what do you mean by knowing a thing? Suppose you know a thing, what does it mean? Knowing a thing means it is knowledge of the thing relative to the intellect. Right? The intellect, or the mind you can say, it has formed an opinion about the thing. It has developed a view about the thing. I say many words so that the idea is conveyed rather well. So mind forms an idea about the thing. And so mind inherits a concept of the thing. So mind invents a thing called a tradition. And then what is a tradition? So it begins somewhere, and it could be beginningless also, it doesn't matter either way. And therefore a concept of the truth is there. Not a concept of the truth is not the truth, but a concept is there. The concept is mistaken for the truth. So mind believes its opinion to be the truth. So what is a concept? The opinion of that particular mind about the truth, that is the concept. And that means what? That person has imagined such and such is the truth. You see, if you go to Surat railway station, there you will find a small cubicle-like thing. There you find a plaque. There it will be written, this is the spot where our Guruji has realized the self. There is a spot. And there they put a statue also. India is a land of statues. If you sit at a particular place without moving for more than 30 minutes, somebody will put a statue on your head. India is a land of statues. So they put a statue there. There his guru, the guru, has realized the truth there. And all these sishyas are receiving the truth from him. Like prasadam they receive, So the mind takes its concept to be the truth. Therefore, whatever you call knowledge is relative to your intellect. What you call knowledge is relative to your intellect. I tell you, what all you call knowledge in real sense is another form of ignorance only. Because it is relative to the intellect and therefore it is not the truth. You see, when you know a thing, what you mean is, what you call knowledge is relative to the intellect. Suppose you say, I do not know. You are very polite and humble and say, I do not know. You mean relative to the intellect you do not know. That is what you mean. You have this habit of knowing with the intellect. You use the intellect is a tool of cognition, which is knowing. That is how people take. They take cognition as knowing. Cognition is taken as knowing. Jnanam, they give a name to it. It is a cognizing by the intellect with the help of a sense organ or two. And you call it jnanam. And having given the name jnanam, therefore it has become knowledge now. What you call knowledge is merely a cognition of a thing by the intellect. And now there is another thing. Now how do you approach the another thing? You approach with the intellect. That is how you approach everything. That is how you approach. So, therefore you approach another thing with the intellect. There, for whatever reason, the intellect could not succeed. And therefore you say, I do not know that. Therefore, when you say I know it, you mean through the intellect. And when you say I don't know it, you mean through the intellect. That is how you keep the intellect before you and define the known and the unknown. That is how you create the categories vidita and avidita with reference to the intellect. Now, intellect can reveal those things which are subject to sense perception. That is what the intellect is. It can know only those things that are subject to sense perception. Therefore, when it says it has not known yet, it means the sense perception did not happen yet. That is all it means. Therefore, if you say, Atma is not known to me, that means you have not yet perceived the Atma with your senses. And that gentleman who has put a statue there and he has done a celebration in Surat station, he has perceived the Atma with his senses. That is his meaning. Arepa, what are you talking? When you say it is unknown to you, it is something, Atma is not unknown, it is something other than the unknown. When that gentleman claims, I have known Atma in the Surat station, that is not what Atma is, it is something other than his known also. It is neither vidita nor avidita. You see, the sphere of the intellect is very limited. It has a very limited sphere because it entirely depends upon the circle of the sense perception. The sense organs have a range, they can operate up to such a small extent. Therefore, within that circle, small circle defined by the sense organs, the intellect functions, and anything beyond that, the intellect cannot do. Therefore, intellectual knowledge is necessarily secondary knowledge. It is not primary knowledge. And when you say traditional knowledge, that is secondary knowledge. The knowledge which has frozen as a thought over the generations, that you receive. It is a frozen thought, like a fossil of a thought. You receive it and call it a traditional knowledge. This knowledge has a very limited domain, limited perspective, and that perspective of the intellect, that small circle in which the intellect operates, cannot catch Atma. Atma self is beyond that small circle. Therefore, what is Atma? So it is neither the known nor the unknown. It doesn't fit into that small circle of the intellect which functions through sense perception. In that mechanical process of knowing, then the Atma doesn't fit in. And therefore, what you call knowledge within the limited sense of the knowledge relative to the intellect is all so much of ignorance. There is no knowledge in it. You see, I tell you, when we say we do not know a thing, you say you do not know a thing, I suggest then you are conscious of your ignorance. Right? You are conscious of your ignorance. And when you say ignorance, what is this ignorance? It is, you see, when you say you know a thing, it is the intellectual comprehension of a thing. That is what you call knowledge. And when you say you do not know, it is the lack of intellectual comprehension of the thing. That is what you call ignorance. And that ignorance, you are conscious of that ignorance. You are very much conscious of that ignorance. And therefore, all knowledge we have called it secondary knowledge. And when you say you are ignorant, it only means you do not have secondary knowledge. But even while you say you do not have that secondary knowledge, you are conscious of that ignorance. You are conscious of that lack of secondary knowledge. Now, I ask you, the knowledge the intellectual comprehension of a thing called a known, it is within that small circle in which the intellect operates and makes defines a thing as known. Okay? Suppose the intellect failed to operate with reference to a thing, and therefore that thing doesn't fit into that small circle within which the intellect operates. Right? And now you see that the intellect is ignorant of a particular thing. Therefore that ignorance of that intellect. Okay? What is it that reveals the ignorance of the intellect? A different knowledge altogether reveals the ignorance of the intellect. When you say you know a thing, what is that revealed that thing? It is the intellect operating through the sense organs within a very limited circle that revealed the thing. And therefore what you call knowledge is secondary knowledge with reference to the intellect that operates within that small circle. But when the intellect fails to when the intellect fails to recognize a thing, and when the intellect admits its ignorance, and there must be some other knowledge. It is not the intellectual knowledge which reveals the intellectual ignorance. There must be a light, a knowledge which reveals the ignorance of the intellect. And what is that knowledge? That knowledge is certainly not vidita or avidita. Therefore, there is another knowledge in you which is beyond vidita and avidita, which is the knowledge of operation in the circle of vidita and avidita, and that knowledge, it doesn't depend upon the intellect and it doesn't depend upon the sense perception also. That knowledge by which you know that you know, that knowledge by which you know that you do not know, that knowledge is beyond the known and the unknown. Therefore, the self is neither the known nor the unknown. It only means the self is beyond the relative knowledge of the intellect and the ignorance of the intellect. Therefore, as long as you complain that you do not know, I am ignorant, people say, Swamiji, we are family people, how to know self? So this family, we are family people, is it a decoration or is it a disadvantage? So you are justifying your not knowing. Chor ka gawahi chor. Anyway, that may not, let us not stretch in that direction. Therefore, as long as you complain that you do not know, what you mean is you are not able to get the secondary knowledge, the intellectual knowledge, if I can say so. It is said like that. Bauddhika vijnanam, Ratna Prabhakara. Therefore, the knowledge that is gained by the intellect within its small circle of operation in the field of sense perception, that knowledge, as long as you mean that is the knowledge, there is no such knowledge of the self. The knowledge of the self is you don't get a hint of that knowledge of the self when you are dealing with the vidita. You examine the avidita. Anyadeva tad viditat, fine. Therefore be humble. Whatever is known to you is not the self. Atho, examine the avidita. What is avidita? Whatever doesn't fit into the small circle of operation of the intellect. Of course, in tandem with sense perception. That is how the intellect operates. Whatever doesn't fit into that small circle, that is avidita. What is it that reveals that this silly intellect could not know, such and such could not fit into the small circle of operation of the intellect? Who is it that knows that? Someone or something that goes beyond this circle of operation and the intellect. Therefore, in avidita, you get a hint about the self. Aviditat adhi. When it comes to vidita, you negate it. Anyadeva tad viditat. It is other than what is known. It is not the known. Then look at the avidita. That is where you discover the truth. Having dismissed the vidita, then look at the avidita. And what is it that reveals the avidita? What is it that proves that this silly intellect and its operation are inadequate? What is it that knows that? That is the witnessing awareness, if I have to say it in concrete terms. Sometimes you need not even concretize it also. Just leave it at that. What is it? That light which reveals this ignorance of the intellect. What is that light? You hold on to that question. That question will take you beyond the ignorance of the intellect. Anyadeva tadvidita datho avidita dadhi. That is a description of that mantra in brief. Akasho Vainama. You see, Atma is like Akasha. You see, the real self-inquiry begins with Akasha. You have to begin with Akasha. Akasha Shariram Brahma. So, you have to go beyond the Namarupa. You see, you should not continuously attribute names and forms, one name after the other, one form after the other, to a reality which is essentially nameless and formless. Because these names and forms, if they are held in check, and if you are conscious of the unreality or unreal nature of the names and forms, then in that freedom, that is the freedom, in that freedom, a few names here and there and names and forms are not going to hinder your vision. When you have that felicity within you, you know this game of names and forms, you know what it is. It is like you see kids playing with marbles. You are not going to object that the kids should not play with marbles. We don't object to that. Let them play. No, those kids want me to play for 5 minutes. They want to have a photo session. And so they want Swami to play the marbles for 5 minutes. Because the Swami said, in my childhood I too played with marbles. Then the children, and the Swami gave chocolates to them also earlier. Therefore the children have some kind of rapport. I say rapport. People tell me it is rapport. Chalo, whatever it is. So the children have some rapport with this Swami guy, and so they, Swamiji, you also should do marble, play with marbles. I don't have any marbles with me. No, you now have. So they put 2 marbles in my hand. So I go on to play for 2 minutes, 2 minutes only. And they have a photo op and they preserve it. I don't mind. What is there to oppose in it? There is nothing to oppose in it. Therefore, it is not opposing the play of marbles. The people are like kids. They are spiritual babes. They don't have a hint of the truth. For them, God is a few names and forms. And they will be dabbling with all those names and forms. And they do marriage for God also. They do all kinds of things. And they invent newer and newer rituals by the day. You go stay in Rishikesh for 3 months, go somewhere and come back, a new ritual is going on. They are caught in the web of names and forms. Who are we to oppose all that? It is not for us to oppose anything. It is a passing show, the world. But you don't fall a prey to all this show, to this passing show. Take the passing show as the passing show. And Atma is beyond this small circle of operation of the intellect, namely vidita and avidita. It is like space. Akasho Vainama. You be that spaciousness within you. It is not about the physical space that we are talking about. But you can always take a cue from the physical space. Look at the physical space. How vast it is. How boundless it is. Can you tell this is east? Can you tell where this east will end? You cannot tell. Maybe where the west behind me will end, I cannot tell. The south, where will it end? I don't know. You cannot tell. The north, where will it end? You cannot tell. Above, where will it end? Below, where will it end? Will it end? If so, where? You cannot. My God, this space is boundless. And it contains everything in it, yet unaffected by anything. The stars don't affect it, galaxies don't affect it, the planets don't affect it. The silly things that we do don't affect the Akasha. Take a cue from the space. You meditate upon the space. Buddha meditated on space for 1 month. You can meditate for 6 months if you wish. And then you discover the space within. Not a physical space, the spaciousness within. The spaciousness within, the Chidakasha, it holds or upholds the entire universe within. And yet it is boundless. Akasho Vainama Ityadi Shrutibhyaha Om Purnamada Purnamidam Shanti 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 Harihi Om Harihi Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Maheshaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Kshobarahito Brahmanas Santu Nirbhaya Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Om